Remember when summer vacations felt like they would never end, when waiting for your birthday seemed to take forever? Now, fast forward to today, blink once, and suddenly it's December again. Ever wonder why time feels like it's sprinting as we get older? The clocks tick the same, but your brain is screaming, where did the year go? Here's the twist. Time isn't actually speeding up. You're just measuring it wrong. Over a century ago, a French philosopher named Henri Bergson cracked this strange feeling. He argued that we've been brainwashed by clocks, calendars, and deadlines into seeing time as a cold, mathematical line. But Bergson's radical idea, called la durée or duration, says real time isn't about seconds or minutes. It lives in your memories, emotions, and how you experience life's moments. Think about it. Routine days blur together, but a spontaneous road trip feels like it lasts forever. Why? Because your brain actually lives those moments. So, is time really shrinking, or are we just letting it slip through our fingers? Stick around, because we're diving deep into Bergson's mind-bending theory, and how you can reclaim time before it's gone. You're not imagining it. Birthdays, holidays, even Mondays, they all hit like rapid fire now. One minute you're setting New Year's resolutions, and the next you're scrambling for Halloween costumes. Wasn't it June just yesterday? Science backs this up. Studies show most adults over 30 feel time speeding up every year. But why? For decades, psychologists leaned on the proportional theory. When you're 10 years old, a year is 10% of your life. Huge. But at 50 a year is just 2%. Your brain literally scales time based on how much you've already lived. That explains part of it, but there's more. Neuroscience adds that routine kills our perception of time. When life becomes predictable, same commute, same meetings, same endless Netflix scroll, your brain stops forming vivid memories. Without new markers, time collapses into a blur. Here's where things get wild. Bergson and Einstein had a famous clash over time. Einstein's theory of relativity treated time as a fourth dimension, fixed, measurable, ticking identically across the universe, but Bergson called this a crime against lived experience. To him, Einstein's clock time was a useful illusion, but real-time la durée is fluid, personal, and shaped by consciousness itself. Think of it this way. Einstein's time is what your phone counts. Bergson's time is what you feel when you're laughing with friends, grieving a loss, or stuck in traffic. Science measures intervals. Philosophy asks, why does a minute of boredom drag on forever, while a year of joy vanishes in a flash? Einstein saw time as physics. Bergson saw it as the essence of being human. For Einstein, aging is a cosmic equation. For Bergson, it's a tragedy of modern life. We've swapped depth for efficiency, trading rich moments for hollow productivity. We've let clocks dictate our worth, shrinking our sense of time into spreadsheet cells. So, is time speeding up, or are we numbing ourselves to its flow? The answer lies in Bergson's rebellion against the tyranny of ticks and tocks. Picture two versions of time: clock time, cold, uniform, relentless, the kind you see on your phone, split into seconds, minutes, and hours. Lived time, warm, elastic, unpredictable, the kind you feel when you're lost in conversation, caught in creative flow, or facing a crisis. Bergson called this second version la durée, the cornerstone of his philosophy. He argued time isn't a line, but a river, bending, swirling, and changing speed depending on where you stand in it. While science slices time into measurable units, Bergson insisted real time is the raw, unfiltered experience of being alive. Modern life runs on schedules. We're trained to see time as a resource to spend or waste. But Bergson warned, this turns us into prisoners of efficiency. Clocks and calendars, he said, are useful fictions, tools for organizing society, not truths about existence. Think of it like this: a map of Paris is not Paris itself. Similarly, clock time is not time itself, it's a simplified sketch. La durée is time as a symphony, not a metronome. It's time as your consciousness perceives it, a flowing, interconnected stream of memories, sensations, and emotions. That's why 10 minutes waiting in a boring meeting feels like an eternity. But 10 minutes laughing with friends disappears. In a flash, your brain doesn't count seconds, it weaves stories. When you're bored, your mind fixates on each passing moment, stretching it out. When you're engaged, your attention dissolves into the experience. compressing time. Bergson called this the paradox of intensity. The richer the moment, the faster it seems to vanish. Here's where Bergson gets radical. Your past isn't dead. It's alive in your present, shaping how you feel time. Every memory, habit, and emotion bleeds into your perception of now. For example, trauma can make minutes feel like hours. Nostalgia can make decades feel like yesterday. This is why aging warps time. As you grow older, your brain has fewer firsts. First kiss, first job, first adventure, to anchor memories. Life becomes routine, and without vivid markers, your mind lumps days into generic chunks. La durée shrinks. So, we left off with Bergson's idea that as we age, our experience of time shrinks because our lives become more routine, and fewer new memories anchor our days. But what exactly is this la durée duration that Bergson talked about, and why does it matter? At its core, Bergson's duration is a theory about how we actually experience time. Unlike the clock's ticking seconds, duration is the continuous, flowing, and indivisible movement of consciousness itself. It's not a series of separate moments lined up like beads on a string, but more like a river, always moving, blending past and present into one seamless experience. Bergson realized something profound. The moment you try to measure a moment, it's already gone. Clocks and calendars force time into fixed units, but real time is mobile and incomplete. For science, time is constant and measurable. For you and me, it speeds up or slows down depending on how we live it. This was a big deal because it challenged the dominant way of thinking about time, that it's just a mathematical line stretching endlessly. Instead, Bergson argued that time is felt through memories, emotions, and consciousness. It's qualitative, not quantitative. Think about music. Scientists might analyze a song by breaking it down into individual notes played one after another. But when you listen, you don't just hear separate notes, you experience a flowing melody, a whole that's more than the sum of its parts. That's duration. Bergson first introduced this idea in his 1889 essay, Time and Free Will, where he argued that understanding real time was key to grasping human freedom. Unlike Kant, who believed free will existed only outside time and space, Bergson said freedom is lived within time in the flow of consciousness. He also explored this in Matter and Memory, 1896, where he described the brain not as a simple recorder, but as a filter. It lets through to consciousness only those impressions that matter biologically, meaning our experience of time is shaped by what we pay attention to and remember. This explains why routine dulls time. When you drive the same route every day, or watch the same TV shows, your brain switches to autopilot. It stops creating vivid memories because it's not encountering anything new. Without fresh mental markers, days blend together, and time feels like it's flying. But when something novel happens, a new place, a first kiss, a surprising event, your brain kicks into high gear. It forms rich, detailed memories that stretch out your perception of time. This is why childhood summers felt endless. Everything was new. Every day packed with firsts. Bergson called this the qualitative multiplicity of duration. Unlike quantitative time, which counts discrete, separate moments, qualitative time is a continuous, interconnected flow, where moments blend and build on each other. It's impossible to break down or measure precisely because it's lived experience itself. In this flow, the past isn't dead or separate from the present. Instead, memories from yesterday, last week, or even years ago are alive inside you, shaping how you feel now. That's why nostalgia can make decades feel like yesterday, and trauma can stretch minutes into hours. This also ties into Bergson's famous debate with Einstein. While Einstein's relativity treated time as a dimension like space measurable and consistent, Bergson insisted that this view ignored the messy, subjective reality of how we live time. Einstein's time is the clock on your phone. Bergson's time is the beating pulse of your emotions and memories. Their 1922 debate in Paris was more than a clash of ideas. It was physics versus philosophy, the cosmos versus the human heart. Einstein argued time was relative to motion and gravity, but always measurable. Bergson countered that this scientific time was a useful illusion that failed to capture the essence of lived experience. He famously said that Einstein's time was like a corpse on a lab table, lifeless, and dissected, while la durée was alive, messy, and inseparable from our humanity. Though scientists mostly sided with Einstein, Bergson's ideas quietly influenced psychology. literature, and mindfulness practices, which explore how our perception of time shapes our lives. Neuroscience now confirms Bergson was onto something. Brain regions active during sleep and daydreaming light up when we experience time stretching or compressing. Stress can make time feel like it's speeding up, while awe and novelty slow it down. So, the paradox is this: we live in Einstein's universe, where time is a dimension to be measured, but we feel Bergson's time, a flowing, personal experience, that can speed up or slow down depending on how we live. And here's the kicker: time isn't slipping away from you. You're just letting your brain get lazy. But the good news, you can hack your perception of time. You don't need a time machine or fancy gadget. You just need to understand how la durée works and use it to stretch your days, months, and years into something that feels alive again. Alright, now that we've unpacked Bergson's idea of la durée, lived time, and why it feels like time speeds up as we get older, let's talk about how you can actually hack your brain to stretch time and make life feel richer. Your brain is kind of like a smartphone camera. It only captures those high-definition, vivid memories when something new or unusual happens. This is called the novelty effect. When you experience something fresh, a first kiss, a trip to a foreign city, or even a bizarre TikTok trend, your brain shifts into hyperdrive. It soaks up every detail, encoding fresh memories that literally slow down your perception of time. Science backs this up. In a 2016 study, participants who listened to unfamiliar music perceived the duration as about 20% longer than those who listened to repetitive tunes. Why? Novelty triggers the hippocampus, the brain's memory factory, forcing it to work over time. More mental effort means more time-stamped memories, which means time feels elongated. This explains the secret of childhood. Everything is a first. Learning to ride a bike, tasting ice cream for the first time, even losing a tooth. Each new experience forces your brain to pay attention and create lasting memories. That's why summers felt endless and time seemed to stretch on forever. As adults, we automate life. We drive the same route to work, eat the same meals, binge the same shows. Without novelty, the hippocampus goes into nap mode, and time shrinks. So novelty is your first weapon in reclaiming time. Try this. Become a tourist in your own city. Take a different route to work. Order the weirdest dish on the menu. Learn something awkward, a new language, an instrument, or even a TikTok dance. Fluency doesn't matter. The struggle does. Breaking your default script forces your brain to pay attention and create new memories. Swap Netflix for a live improv show. Replace scrolling with stargazing. Pro tip: plan one mini adventure a week. It could be as simple as cooking a bizarre recipe or striking up a conversation with a stranger. Novelty isn't about grand gestures, it's about disrupting autopilot. Next up is the mindfulness hack. Living fully in the moment to stretch la durée. Mindfulness isn't just for yogis or meditation apps. It's a time-stretching superpower. When you're fully present, you anchor yourself in lived time, resisting your brain's rush to compress moments into blurry memories. Try this simple grounding trick. The 5-4-3-2-1 method. When life feels frantic, pause and name 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, through things you smell, 1 thing you taste, savor the mundane. Drink your coffee like it's a $100 wine. Notice the aroma, the warmth, the bitterness. Meditate for just 3 minutes a day. Focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back. No apps, no pressure. Why does this work? Mindfulness blocks your brain's habit of time traveling into regrets or worries. It forces you to live in the tick, not just count the TOCKS. Now, let's talk about the routine effect, the silent thief of time. Routine is comfortable, but it's also time's kryptonite. When you repeat the same tasks, commuting, scrolling emails, grocery shopping, your brain switches to autopilot. The basal ganglia, a neural region responsible for habits, takes over, minimizing effort and maximizing efficiency. Great for productivity, terrible for time perception. Remember your first day at a new job. It probably felt endless. New faces, new processes, figuring out the coffee machine quirks. But by day 100, you were a zombie. Same desk, same tasks, same meetings. The week blurred into a single mental screenshot. Bergson's la durée withers when life becomes predictable. Einstein's clock ticks on, but your lived time, the raw emotional texture of existence, shrinks to a dot. The final piece of the puzzle is memory compression, the storage illusion. Here's the kicker: you don't actually perceive time. As it passes, you reconstruct it later. When you look back, your brain doesn't replay every second. It skims highlights. Fewer highlights equal fewer mental bookmarks, which means time feels truncated. Think of the vacation test. A week in Tokyo filled with street food, temples, and missed trains feels expansive in memory. A routine workweek collapses into a single, mere moment. Both last 168 hours. But Tokyo wins because novelty forced your brain to log more memories. Aging plays a cruel trick here. As adults, we accumulate fewer firsts. Marriage, promotions, mortgages. Sure, they're milestones, but they lack the granular novelty of childhood. Your brain lumps years into broad categories. The Amazon Prime era, or that job I tolerated. Result: decades feel like chapters, not sagas. Bergson's warning is clear: don't let time flatline. This isn't just biology, it's a philosophical crisis. Bergson argued that modern life's obsession with efficiency suffocates la durée. We've replaced adventure with algorithms, spontaneity with schedules, and rich moments with to-do lists. Dot clocks don't measure life, they measure intervals between obligations. So what's the fix? Inject novelty. Take a different route to work. Try a hobby that terrifies you. Dance in the rain. These moments force your hippocampus awake, stretch la durée, and make time feel rich again. The ultimate irony. Einstein proved time is relative. Bergson improved it by making it personal. As you age, time accelerates not because the universe spins faster, but because you're letting your brain off the hook. Routine is comfortable, but it's a bargain with the devil, trading depth for speed, presence for productivity. So next time you sigh and wonder, where did the week go? Blame your habits, not the clock. The good news: you hold the reset button. Novelty is the antidote. Let's rewind to April 1922. Paris was buzzing with intellectual energy. Albert Einstein, fresh off winning the Nobel Prize, arrived to lecture on his groundbreaking theory of relativity. Waiting for him was Henri Bergson, France's most celebrated philosopher. What followed wasn't just a debate, it was a full-on collision of worlds: physics versus philosophy, clocks versus consciousness, the cosmos versus the human heart. Einstein's relativity had revolutionized physics by framing time as the fourth dimension, a flexible fabric intertwined with space. His equations showed that time slows down near massive objects like Earth or at high speeds, meaning twins could age differently if one traveled through space at near light speed. For Einstein, time was mathematical, impersonal, and relative. To the observer's motion, clocks not feelings defined it. Bergson agreed that time was relative, but not in Einstein's way. To him, la durée, the lived time of memories, emotions, and anticipation, was the very essence of reality. Clocks, Bergson argued, were tools for convenience, not truths about existence. Einstein's time was a phantom, ignoring how we experience waiting, regret, or joy, the very fabric of being human. During their famous debate, Bergson critiqued Einstein's twin paradox. If one twin ages slower in space, Bergson asked, wouldn't their consciousness still feel the full duration? Einstein's reply was icy. The time of the philosophers does not exist. There is only psychological time, different from the time of the physicist. The fallout. Scientists largely sided with Einstein. Bergson was accused of misunderstanding relativity, and his academic reputation suffered. But philosophers, artists, and thinkers rallied behind him. For them, Einstein's clock time reduced existence to cold equations, while Bergson's la durée preserved the poetry of human experience, the ache of nostalgia, the rush of creativity, the weight of mortality. This divide shaped the modern world. Einstein's victory reshaped technology and science. GPS satellites adjust for relativity's time dilation, and quantum physics leans on space-time math. But Bergson's ideas quietly thrived in psychology, literature, and mindfulness movements. Neuroscientists now confirm Bergson's hunches. Brain regions active during self-reflection and daydreaming light up when we experience time stretching or compressing. Studies show stress compresses time, while OAGO stretches it, proving la durée's fluidity. Today, we live in Einstein's universe but feel Bergson's time. We track productivity in minutes but measure life in moments. The debate remains unresolved. Can we reconcile cosmic time with human time? Einstein gave us the tools to navigate black holes. Bergson reminds us why we care to look up at the stars together. They reveal time's duality, a dimension to map and a mystery to live. Here's the truth. Time isn't slipping away. You're just letting your brain get lazy. But don't worry, you can hack your perception of time using Bergson's La Durée. No DeLorean required. Here's how to stretch your days, months, and years into something that feels alive again. First, remember your brain is like a smartphone camera. It only captures HD memories when something new happens. Novelty forces your hippocampus to work harder, creating vivid mental markers that slow down subjective time. Try this. Become a tourist in your own city. Take a different route to work. Order the weirdest dish on the menu. Learn something awkward, a language, an instrument, or even a TikTok dance. Fluency isn't the goal. Struggle is. Breaking your default script wakes up your brain. Swap Netflix for a live improv show. Replace scrolling with stargazing. Pro tip. Plan one mini adventure a week. It could be as simple as cooking a bizarre recipe or talking to a stranger. Novelty isn't about grand gestures. It's about disrupting autopilot. Next, live mindfully. Mindfulness isn't just for yogis. It's a time-stretching superpower. When you're fully present, you anchor yourself in La Durée, resisting your brain's rush to compress moments into blurry memories. Try the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding trick when life feels frantic. Name 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, 1 thing you taste. Savor the mundane. Drink coffee like it's a $100 wine. Notice the aroma, the warmth, the bitterness. Meditate for 3 minutes a day. Focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back. No apps, no pressure. Why does this work? Mindfulness blocks your brain's habit of time traveling into regrets or worries. It forces you to live in the tick, not just count the talks. Finally, break the routine. Routine is time's kryptonite. Disrupt your patterns and create mental speed. Bumps that stretch your sense of time. Rearrange your environment. Move furniture. Swap your phone's wallpaper. Shower in the dark. Flip your schedule. Eat dessert. First, work from a park. Take a reverse day where you do everything backward. Embrace micro risks. Wear an outfit that scares you. Sing in an elevator. Ask a bold question. Pro tip. Use the rule of 3 every day. Change 3 tiny things. Your breakfast, your playlist, your walk home. Small shocks add up to big perceptual shifts. And don't forget to embrace boredom. Let time breathe. Doing nothing actually slows time. Constant stimulation, emails, TikTok, podcasts, overloads your brain, turning days into a flat line. Bergson argued boredom is where creativity and La Durée thrive. Schedule blank space, 10 minutes a day to stare at a wall, daydream, or watch clouds. Delete filler apps. Ditch one app that mindlessly eats your time looking at you. Instagram. Take a tech Sabbath, 1 hour a week with no screens. Let your mind wander. Bergson's prescription. Time doesn't vanish. It's diluted by routine, distraction, and the myth of productivity. To reclaim it, trade efficiency for intensity. La Durée isn't just a theory, it's a rebellion. So tonight, ask yourself, will I count the hours or live them? Bergson's radical truth is this: time is not a number, it's a feeling. Clocks measure, but you decide if life slips by or lingers. The more you chase novelty, mindfulness, and rebellion against routine, the richer time becomes. So, now that you know how time really works, not as a cold ticking clock, but as a living, breathing experience, let's wrap this up with a little reflection. When was the last time time felt slow? Maybe it was a childhood summer, where every day was packed with new adventures and firsts. Or maybe it was a heartbreak, when minutes dragged like hours. Or perhaps a moment of awe, watching a sunset, listening to a powerful song, or staring up at the stars. Whatever your story is, those moments are proof that time isn't just passing, it's being lived. And here's the thing, you don't have to wait for a big life event to feel that richness again. You can start right now. Remember Bergson's La Durée time as your consciousness experiences it. It's in the small things, the little breaks from routine, the moments where you truly pay attention. So, here's a challenge for you. This week, try to shake up your usual rhythm. Take a different route to work. Talk to someone new. Try a hobby you've been curious about but never dared to start. Spend 10 minutes just watching clouds or listening to music without distractions. And when you catch yourself saying, "Where did the time go?" pause and ask, "Did I live it, or just count it?" Because that's the secret. Time isn't your enemy, it's your canvas. The more you fill it with novelty, mindfulness, and genuine connection, the richer it becomes. If you've got a story about when time felt slowest or richest for you, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear your experiences and share the best ones in our next video. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that bell icon to join the Time Rebellion, a community of people who refuse to let life slip by unnoticed. Thanks for watching, and remember, time isn't speeding up. You're just learning how to live it fully. See you in the next video.